And when we don't intentionally redirect those thoughts, we end up living in a chronic overwhelm and frustration simply because we haven't given our minds new instructions. Your brain can't offer creative solutions from a chaotic state. So we have to shift and direct your brain every day to meet your thoughts with capability. Because the way out of overwhelm isn't doing more and pushing harder, it's thinking differently. Welcome to Remix Moments with Martine, where we will remix your mindset one moment at a time. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and I'm here to bring you a quick burst of inspiration, insight, and a fresh spin on your mompreneur journey. In just a few minutes, we'll remix your mindset, energize your day, and keep you moving forward with purpose. Let's dive in to today's moment. Well, hey friends, and welcome back to Life Coaching for Mompreneurs. I am your host, Martine Williams, and today we're going to be talking about something every high-achieving woman faces, and it's the word overwhelm. And I was inspired to do this episode after having a session with one of my coaching clients today. And she came into the call very overwhelmed, frustrated, feeling like a failure. How many of you can relate to that? And just kind of want to share with you what we talked through and help you with this word overwhelm, because it's heavy. Overwhelm can feel heavy. It's that spinning feeling that makes everything feel urgent and impossible at the same time. And the truth that I reminded her of today is that overwhelm doesn't come from what's on your plate. It doesn't come from everything on your to-do list, everything you have on your plate. It comes from believing that you can't handle it. It comes from believing that you're not capable. Overwhelm is the emotional evidence of a thought that says, I don't know how, I'll never catch up, I can't figure this out, I have so much on my plate, and I can't take anything off, I can't get a break, everything is catching up with me. You fill in the blank. These are just some of the thoughts that I heard today. The overwhelm is an emotional evidence of a thought, and that's it. So we call it a busy season or a stressful day, but most of the time, overwhelm isn't about those circumstances. It's about our belief that we're not capable of handling them. And when you think of it in that way, it just calms. There is just a sense of calm. Now, you have to believe it to be true, but when you have that perspective shift or that mindset shift of what overwhelm actually is, it puts your brain in a completely different state. So that thought of not being able to handle or not being able to figure it out quietly chips away at your confidence. It steals your focus, your energy, and your peace. And that's exactly what was going on today with my client when she came on our call. And so I want to offer you a perspective that you might not have considered before, that overwhelm isn't just about your to-do list. It's a distraction game. Like it keeps you from feeling capable and seeing what you already know. And when you learn how to direct your brain out of that distraction, you reclaim your clarity, your confidence, and your calm. And that's exactly what happened at the end of our call today. So we usually think, again, that overwhelm means that there's too much on our plate. But it actually starts in your mind, not in your schedule. It sounds like, I don't know where to start. There's too much to do. I'll never get it done. I'll never get it all done. And when your brain plays those messages on repeat, you begin to believe them. This is why having a coach, having someone who can see your blind spots, because a lot of these messages about overwhelm and frustration and failure have been in your mind and they're on repeat, and you begin to believe them. And I want to remind you that a belief is a thought that you have decided is true. But overwhelm is your brain's way of saying, I feel incapable. And it's a distraction from your capability. And sometimes, if we're being honest, it's just easier to say, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stuck. Because thinking differently and acting differently actually takes energy. It takes slowing down long enough to challenge the thought instead of reacting to it. And that was kind of the first thing I said to her. I said, your natural inclination as a high capacity, high energy, high achiever is to do more, to push harder and try to push your way out of the overwhelm. But what really needs to happen is you need to pause. You need to slow down long enough to actually see the thoughts instead of reacting to it. Because the more you say, I don't know, the more your brain believes that you don't. The more you say, I'm stuck, I'm overwhelmed, the more your brain believes that. And then the more disconnected you become from your own wisdom. Like this client is a highly successful entrepreneur, mom, very, very smart, very wise, but she was so disconnected from it because of the thoughts that she was having. Our brains are wired for survival, y'all, not success. That means your default thoughts will almost always sound like there's too much to do, I'm behind, I'll never figure this out, because it's trying to conserve energy. It's trying to keep you safe and conserve energy. And when we don't intentionally redirect those thoughts, we end up living in a chronic overwhelm and frustration simply because we haven't given our minds new instructions. Your brain can't offer creative solutions from a chaotic state. When she first came on the call, like she couldn't see the forest for the trees because her brain was in a chaotic state. So we have to shift and direct your brain every day to meet your thoughts with capability. Because the way out of overwhelm isn't doing more and pushing harder. It's thinking differently. When you feel that flood of overwhelm rising, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what am I telling myself I can't figure out right now? Then I want you to meet that thought with the truth, which is, I am capable. I can figure this out. I may not know every step, but I know the next one. And the one that I say to myself all the time is, I have a 100% track record of figuring things out because I'm here. I'm still here. And that small shift rewires your brain from panic to possibility, from problem to possibility, from problem to solution. And that's the shift that you need. You are not your thoughts, but you are the thinker. And that means you get to lead your brain, not the other way around. I talk about this all the time with my clients. I'm like, your brain is like a toddler, and you have to redirect it and redirect it and redirect it, just like you did if you ever had a toddler. You have to redirect them all the time from what they want to what they actually need. So every morning before the day takes off, you can pause and direct your brain toward capability and calm. You can direct your brain towards capability and calm. And you can do it by asking yourself, what do I want to think on purpose today? It's called intentional thought creation. We do this in my coaching. When you work with me one-on-one, we do this every single week. What do you want to think on purpose today? Because we know there are going to be unintentional thoughts that come up all the time, but what do you want to think on purpose today? What truth do I want to stand on? Because your thoughts are not random, they're chosen, and chosen thoughts create intentional emotions. So if you want to be intentional about choosing the thoughts that's going to intentionally create the emotion that you're looking for, which for all of you is not overwhelm. That's not what you're wanting to feel. Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
When I started coaching with Martine, I was extremely burned out, overwhelmed, very stressed, and I knew I needed to make some changes. So I reached out, and over the course of time, she helped me realize that I needed to take back control of my schedule, create boundaries, and then along the way, I had a huge transition in my business, and she helped me figure out my next steps and help me structure a new business. And she's been there for me and been able to help guide me with her advice and her knowledge. Without her, I could not be where I am today.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. So remember, capability isn't confidence, it's conviction. It's choosing to believe that I can learn this, I can ask for help, I can take one small action today. And you don't need to have it all figured out to start feeling capable. That was the other thing we talked about today, just kind of baby stepping her into capability. You don't have to have it all figured out, but what do you know right now? What's the low-lying fruit that you can see right now? You just need to remember who you are and what you've already come through. I had another client today who is launching a new business, and we were talking about this, like getting her words right to talk about what she's doing now, and it being like honey, coming off of her lips, and just being able to say it so smooth, and basically looking for the perfect line and the perfect way to say it. And when she was talking about her current business that's already established, she was like, I know what we do. I know what I do, and I can talk to anyone about it. And I said, but I bet you didn't when you first started that, right? But now she knows how to talk about it. And so it's being willing to put in the reps. So you just have to remember in those moments who you are and what you've already come through, what you've already accomplished, what you've already been capable of figuring out. It's the same thing. So let's say the thought is, I'm overwhelmed. Let's just say you're listening today and that's your thought today. Instead of trying to change your to-do list, I want you to change your thought. We can't fix internal problems externally. We can't fix internal problems externally, but we try really hard, and this is where burnout comes in. So instead of trying to just change your to-do list, I want you to change your thoughts about your to-do list. And I want you to find the overwhelming thought that you're having about your to-do list. And then I want you to meet it with capability. That could sound like, I can figure this out. I have done hard things before. I know how to take the next right step. That's how you begin redirecting or directing your brain. It's one belief at a time. Overwhelm loses its power the moment you stop fighting the circumstance and start addressing the thought. This morning, she was really fighting her circumstances. But once we started addressing the thought, she went from frustration and overwhelm to just this like calming presence, like very heavy pressure feeling when she came on the call. Once she stopped fighting the circumstance and started addressing the thought, that's when things started to change. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, don't ask, how do I do it all? Ask, what am I believing right now? And then I want you again to meet that thought with capability, because you have figured out hard things before. And you will again, because this is not the first time you're going to feel overwhelmed. But you don't have to wait for the overwhelm to pass. You can lead yourself out of it. When you're waiting on the overwhelm to pass, you're waiting for your circumstances to change, and sometimes they don't. But you can lead yourself out of overwhelm. Your brain is a very powerful tool, but it does need direction, and it needs specific direction. If you don't direct it, it will default to fear, pressure, frustration. So here's the practice. Again, every day, I want you to realize that you get to direct it. You get to direct your brain out of the overwhelm, out of the frustration, and back towards the capability and calm. And just get curious about your thoughts. Not going to shame them, judge them, any of that. But what am I telling myself I don't know right now? What do I actually know? What's one step I can take? So you can notice I'm giving you different questions and different variations of things. And there might be one set of questions that like really land with you. Go with those. But that's how you move from I don't know to I can figure it out. All my clients know we don't say I don't know on my calls, because the moment you tell yourself you don't know, guess what? You move out of the possibility into the problem again. And it's this like vicious cycle of I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. What do you know right now? What step can you take right now? Let's say your thought is I'll never catch up. Maybe that's one year. Maybe it's not the overwhelm. It's just that I'll never catch up. I want you to pause again, and I want you to redirect it. And it could sound something like this. I may not get everything done today, but I know what matters most. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't know what to do. How about instead of that, you could say, I know enough to take the next right step. Like, these are very subtle, simple shifts, y'all, but they make a difference because that's where the confidence starts. That's what gets you out of problem and into possibility. You're no longer reacting at that moment. You're leading, you're directing, you're guiding. Remember, you're not your thoughts, but you are the thinker. So you can decide. Not always, but I do like sometimes in the podcast to kind of anchor in some spiritual truths too. And Romans 12:2 says, reminds us to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation doesn't begin in your circumstance, it begins in your thinking, and renewing is active and it's ongoing. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, friend, it isn't proof that you can handle it. You can't handle it. That's not what's happening. It's proof that you're ready to think differently. It's like we talked about before, the check engine light. It's a check engine light to check your thoughts, because your thoughts are what's creating the overwhelm. It's your thoughts about what's going on in your circumstance that's creating the overwhelm. It's not all the things on your list, all the people that are pulling for your attention. It's not that. It's your thoughts of being incapable of figuring it out. So instead, today, of letting overwhelm distract you, I want you to direct your brain back to capability. And I want you to remind yourself, I've figured out hard things before. I can figure this out too. Everything is figure outable. I think Marie Forleo started that phrase. You are capable. You are equipped. You just have to keep leading your mind there, one thought at a time. So if this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with another mompreneur, woman in business who might need the reminder that the overwhelm they're feeling right now is not the boss. She is. You are the boss. And if you're ready to learn how to manage your thoughts, as I've been talking about today in a deeper process, and to strengthen your mindset and to create rhythms that support real peace and productivity, I'd really love to help you with that. You can go to martinewilliams.com/clarity. The next right step there is to book a clarity call. This is you and I together on a call for 1 hour max. We talk through where you are, where you want to go, and then how to get there, and any shifts that need to happen in your thoughts to help, because your thoughts create your results. And so it's not always true that you need to be working harder or doing more. It's you need to be thinking differently. You're not stuck. Being stuck is a mindset, y'all. It's not a position. And you're just one capable thought away from your next breakthrough. Until next time, I'm believing in you always, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Well, that's it, friends, for this remix moment. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and I hope that you are feeling inspired and ready to take on whatever comes your way. Remember, even small moments can lead to big changes. If this moment made a difference, be sure to subscribe, share with your fellow moms, and leave me a quick review. Seriously, it means the world to me to hear from you. And until next time, I am believing in you, and I will catch you in the next moment.